What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Elude Stalwart playing the Project Ascension Andorhal PvP server. This is episode number 24. We're Elude Stalwart playing Elude. He's our armor stacking tank. In the description it says I'm level 41. I think that's still true. I may have hit 40. Oh, I hit 43. We're up in Feralis right now. We were farming the Yeti cave when we hit our 100 subscribers yesterday. Super exciting stuff. Now we're gonna try to grind our way up to level 60 as quickly as humanly or night elfly possible, and try to really knuckle in and bear down and do some fun stuff. Find out where this game's gonna take us. I'm tired of leveling. I'm sick of it at this point. I want to be 60 already. I want to get into raids, running dungeons, doing group content. Speaking of which, group content. I don't know if we want to queue for Scarlet Monastery or Uldaman. ZF sounds fun. None of Maradon. I don't want to do Maradon. Maybe we can get a group for ZF. I wouldn't mind Scarlet Monastery really, but I think we're a bit high for that dungeon actually. I want to see if we can tank ZF. Maybe we can get a group for ZF. That would be fun, I think. Oh right, I just checked my mail. I was like, what do I have in the mail? I literally just checked that. Stamina stacking. We got all our points spent, I think. Yeah. We picked up Holy Shield was the last ability that we picked up. I believe we were trying to take a boat on the dock back to shore. There's a boat that goes back and forth. It doesn't take very long. We can wait for it. I think that would be quicker than swimming across. The Dane says, happy leveling. What's up, the Dane? Good morning, man. Or for you, it's probably good evening, right? My play schedule's usually a little bit off from the normal US streamers schedule.
What brings you here?
What brings you here? Well, actually nothing. The boat is what brings me here. That's what you do. You sit at the dock and you ask people why they're at the dock waiting for the boat. GG, Night Elf. Way to troll. Yeah, man, leveling's been going good. If I can just sit there in an area and grind out mobs, it goes pretty quickly. The biggest thing that I've had to worry about so far is my bags. Speaking of which, my bags. I should clear these. Maybe I can mail off stuff that I don't need while we wait for the boat. We might miss it doing this, but it's all for the best. We're gonna mail the ore, the cloth. Yeah, probably all this stuff. Anything that we can't vendor, we're gonna mail to Stalwart. Alright, so Stalwart. Take our cloth, take our ore, more cloth, more cloth. I guess the plants too. And gold ore. Alright, we're high enough to farm gold now. We can sell the rag and stuff. I think the mana potions sell pretty well, so we'll send those as well. This is gray, but it looks like it's not been put in yet. There you go. Stalwart will take care of that stuff for us.
Goddess bless you.
Ooh, another player. Zero Cool. Level 39. I like his name. GG. Good name, buddy. Zero Cool. Well, it's 14:30. Remembering to fishing. Or remember to fishing. I'm not really a fisherman. Is fishing, what does fishing do? I don't ever fish. Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon, man. No, wow. It's barely 7:32 where I'm at. So you're where the server is, huh? Oh look, our dungeon queue. We've got a DPS willing to do ZF. I gotta move my bar here. I don't know how it got offset. I think because I added the key ring for the pirate's footlocker. Excuse me. Just waiting for the boat now. I wonder what I'm going to pick up next. I don't think I need any more moves or abilities. Sitting here thinking like, what can I do to make the tank build a little bit more oomph? I can make it to where I do 5% more damage. Right now with improved defensive stance, we've just nullified the 10% damage reduction that we get from being in defensive stance. We picked up improved defensive stance, which further reduce spell damage, and then it increases our physical damage caused by 10% when we enrage, when we dodge, block, or parry. And we're only actually going to do more damage than we would have done if we go into one-handed specialization in the next 5 points. So that would get us to level 48. But at level 45, we could pick up stuff in this talent. I think it's Safeguard. No, not Safeguard. That's not what I was thinking it was. Devastate, I can't wait for. I want to get Devastate bad. Sword and Board. Sword and Board is the shit. Increase the crit strike chance of your Devastate ability by 5%, and when you Devastate or Revenge, the ability deals damage. Oh, when your Devastate or Revenge ability deals damage, it has a 10% chance of refreshing the cooldown of your Shield Slam. So, I guess we're going to be transitioning from probably Revenge. We're probably going to get rid of Revenge, pick up Devastate. We're going to have to get Shield Slam at some point. It's tricky. At what point do we learn Shield Slam? Right now. Why don't we already have that? Because we picked up Holy Shield. So if I could, I think I'd refund Revenge and pick up Shield Slam and use that in conjunction with our Shield Block and our Holy Shield. We want to go to the mailbox soon. I think we're gonna wait for Shield Slam until we can do like crazy fun stuff with it. Because when we get up to Sword and Board, that's at level 55. Do we want to wait that long? I think we do. And Warbringer too. I'm looking at a talent reset soon. I'm probably going to reset all my talents whenever I can get Warbringer, because charging everywhere is just too fun. Nader says, gives you a chance to improve cooking and get better stat food. Yeah, man. Fishing's really good. So is cooking. Both are very good. I don't think I'll be messing with it though until I get maxed. If I get max level and I'm waiting to raid or waiting to dungeon, then I'll level fishing and cooking and stuff. But I'll probably level blacksmithing before then. But for the time being, focusing just specifically on levels. Because the higher level I get, the higher level mobs I can kill, the more money I get, the more money I have for respecs, the more money I have to level professions faster. At least that's how I see it. Nader said, haha, no, I never do either. There's usually something on the auction house. Right, and that's my biggest problem is going to the auction house, because I tend to waste all of my money at the auction house for like upper level gears.
Yeah, what do you want? Keep it real.
So if I'm not spending money on respecking, I'm spending money on the auction house. Just getting Discord fired up. I think I got it up now. Lewis Woodhouse says, hey, what's up, Lewis Woodhouse? How are you doing, man? Blue Strider, I made it cuz I'm home. Oh, my cousin's home. Ooh. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Nader, I saw you direct message me. Said keep the video down to 10 minutes to retain viewership. I'm doing well today, Lewis. Just trying to get into grinding. I'm gonna head to this Yeti cave and start tanking a bunch of crazy pulls. Hopefully I can figure out the pulls in the cave to where I can tank as much as possible, as quick as possible. And we're gonna try to hit 60 ASAP. I want it to happen by this weekend. I want to say I can get it done by this weekend, but I would really have to focus hard on it. Here lately I haven't been able to log on later in the day like I do normally, but I think we're gonna make time this week to try to do that. Hopping in the voice comm, so forgive my auto run failing. Oh wow, Discord had an update, so it was acting wonky on me. GG Discord, GG. Lewis said, yeah, I heard vanilla was a grind. Yeah, this is the Wrath of the Lich King client, but it is quite a grind because vanilla is all that's unlocked on it so far. And it is 1x EXP gain, or 1 times the EXP, so it's not like Sargeras where you can get 3 times the EXP. I think of Sargeras as having like bind on account gear, but without the stats. You get like all the XP bonus that you would if you had full bind on account gear, but you hit very like a wet noodle. Give me a moment to get this Discord up and running, because this is it's acting funky on me. There it goes. Reloading the R8, starting. There we go. We have the Discords. Lewis said, well, today I just got my 5th 110 on Legion. Nice, man. That's awesome. How many classes are there total? Warrior, Mage, Druid, Lock, Rogue, Priest, Hunter, Demon Hunter, Death Knight. It's like 9 total? 12? 12 sounds right, but I don't know what else I'm missing. Yeah, I got all those. I got all those except for I think the Hunter is not maxed out to 110. And then whenever I started doing all the different specs for all those, I kind of fell off the game. But I hit it pretty hard whenever it released, so it was my own fault for burning out. My main struggle with Legion was really just finding a guild that played during the same hours that I played, that was doing the stuff I was interested in. I usually play like really early in the mornings while the family's asleep or not around to need me to do anything for them, so that kind of pigeonholes me into this little block in the morning, and then sometimes I got stuff going on, so I'm not able to just actually grind stuff out during normal raid times. It's worked out so far on this server though. Oh, door. Give me a second. Yeah. 36 different specs, that's right. Or 35 since the Demon Hunter only has 2. I didn't play all the specs. There were certain specs I wasn't interested in, like Holy and Disc Priest. I didn't really mess with those. I would get the artifact for them, but then I'd probably just like park it on the side, and then I would focus on the spec that I wanted to play the most. The Rogue, I was playing around with the Pirate spec, or the, what is it, Outlaw. I really enjoyed the Outlaw initially, but I ended up switching to Assassination. I even tried Subtlety out for a little bit, but Assassination was my favorite after a while. But then I think I even switched back to Outlaw just to do more of the face roll, AoE DPS. Paladin, I played, I think, all the specs. Yeah, I started healing the raid right before I quit. I was, that's when you know I'm in dire straits, whenever I start healing on my pally. Because I actually really dug it. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed pally healing. It felt a lot like Retribution did in vanilla, or even early BC, where everybody expected you to be a healer but you wanted to DPS still. and Holy Paladin had this really unique ability to heal while DPSing. So whenever I got my legendary trinket, the Kill Jaden trinket, I would tie that to my one button macro for all of my cooldowns, the God mode macro, where you had Avenging Wrath and your trinket and like all the other good stuff tied all to one macro. And I would pop that on AoE pulls, and I would beat everybody's DPS for big pulls. For big AoE pulls, there was nobody that could catch my healing paladin in damage. It was nuts. And running mythics and stuff like that was really fun too, because I'd be like out DPSing most of DPS and mythics even while still healing everybody through the damage I was doing. So yeah, I really tended to favor my paladin towards the end there. But my warrior was my initial character I leveled. I got him Fury, doing the Fury quests and stuff like that. The whole Norse mythology, kind of Odin and that all that stuff was really fun. Yeah, Demon Hunter was broken. I stayed away from Demon Hunter because everybody was playing it, but whenever I did level a Demon Hunter, I leveled as the Vengeance as tank, and it was kind of like my Night Elf is here, just like pull everything, nuke it down fast, and then move on to the next quest. And then dungeon tanking was simple with him. I had this path carved out, this progression where I'd go from each of the 4 different zones, and I'd level really fast. Because I had all the specific quests that I needed in each zone figured out that I like to do. But I did level, I did every quest in each zone that led to the dungeon. And then I figured out that after I unlocked the dungeon for that zone, then I could run that dungeon and be completely done with that zone's quests. And then I'd move on to the next zone and run all the quests up to that next dungeon. And I would do that on every character. And then you get like, what is it, the world pillars or something like that from each zone that you turn in under Dalaran. You get that really high item level gear. Yeah, I had a whole process. It was pretty quick leveling. And it was easy too because I had, from previous expansions, I had already had all the tunes pretty much up to 100. There was a few of them I still had to level up a bit, like the Rogue I still had to level up a bit in order to get him to the Legion content. I think I found out at like 98 or so I could start doing the initial Legion War kind of cinematic thing, and then skip on to Dalaran and start doing the Broken Isles. What the hell's going on? Oh, not enough mana. I've been forgetting to put my water shield. Lewis said, well, I started a Hunter Draenei, but got to level 15 and deleted her. Yeah, I had all the BOA gear from, I think when Wrath of the Lich King dropped, I got as much of the bind on account gear as possible. And at least for the classes I was interested in. And then now that they're actually bound to your account where you can summon them on any character, like you can sit there and create all the bind on account gear that you need as soon as you log into the character. Because it's just like a tab now. These guys are like the #1 stunners. Monk, that was what I was missing earlier. Yeah, the monk. Mine was named Intoxicated. I wanted him to be Jackie Chan or the Drunken Master when I first made him. Those names were taken, or variants of them names were taken as well. So I ended up just naming him Intoxicated. Yeah, Monk Tank was pretty fun. The Brewmaster, I should say. Then the DK, I made a Druid and mained until Legion and got bored. Same, I found my Monk on the 5th alt. You could start at 99 or 98. Druid got boring in Legion, says Nader. My first tune was a Druid, the feels, and I've always thought Hunters were a mess. Hunters are so stupid OP. Oh yeah, you can't beat the ranged auto attack. Like that's the hardest hitting thing that Hunters do. But then they get all that extra cheesy stuff they can do as well. Like the volleys and the multi-shots, and their pets can cleave, and their pet damage can get out of control too, and they can need on all the gear. But with Druid I could never get the rhythm of DPS, so now I tank on it. Druid caster's weird, going between the light and the night, the solar and lunar eclipses. But I kind of liked what they did with Legion, where you can do that on demand each pull as you decided, instead of like Cataclysm is what comes to mind with when I think Druid caster, because that's whenever I played them the most. In that version you had to actually plan each of the next 5 pulls so you can make sure that you were in the correct lunar or solar eclipse, so you could drop your mushrooms in Hurricane and Starfall at the right time, and then Starfire whenever you needed to with your Moonfire and Sunfire stuff. I did the, what is it, the Firehawk fight in Firelands on my Druid caster. I had to go caster because they wanted that haste buff, but I wanted to be Kitty that whole time, so I kind of had a sour taste in my mouth, because I really wanted the Flame Kitty staff, just like every other Druid. Hey, what's going on, Rocket One Sock?
Not much.
I might have to turn my game volume down.
See you grinding them Yetis.
Yeah, man. I just got started in here. I've been kind of focusing on chat, but I want to figure out the pulls in this Yeti cave today. Nader said, I'm still trying to figure out the design decision behind survival spec and the ability to use swords. I saw a melee hunter at level 20. Yeah, that's survival. And yeah, I find it weird. So, is there a melee hunter in Legion now?
Yeah. They tried to go back to like the old survival spec from like vanilla-ish, where you had actually melee attacks as a hunter.
For me, hunters always were beast mastery in my head, so anytime I did hunting, I did beast mastery spec. But hunters are bad for me because I tend to do like the OCD rare pet thing and rare spawn camp, and don't really ever like hunter any other way. Once I get the really cool pet, then I can go out and do dungeons and AoE to oblivion. I still never got Skull. I wanted Skull. I was more proud of my lesser known hunter pets. Like the flaming, I call it Hot Dog, my flaming boar. And there was a ghost wolf. I forget what I named him, but there's like a quest in Eastern or Western Plague Lands where you summon a ghost wolf and you can tame that. He's not like a ghost wolf, he's more like a dead wolf spirit with a sword through his back. But those weren't considered rare, so I could use those on my other specs whenever I went survival or something. I did survival in Kata, whenever it was like AoE Serpent Sting, and then lock and load procs.
Yeah, survival was fun too. Explosive shot.
Right. I feel like Hunter's been consistently the pure DPS class though. They're exactly like DPSers should be. In most expansions, they're always at the top. They're pretty straightforward, easy to gear, easy to play. But I always enjoyed more complexity, like the Paladin was always pretty complex. When it came to like tanking and stuff, there's always these extra songs and dances you needed to do. And even healing isn't always straightforward. That's why I've always enjoyed like Blizzard games. They're kind of theme, easy to play, hard to master. Like I found there's a lot of different class specs and like ways that you can play these different classes and rotations and stuff. It's where
Well, there used to be anyway.
I feel like it's like that with my tank right now. I feel like it's kind of easy to play, but like if I'm really on it, I can actually do some pretty cool shit, but I have to actually pay attention. What's up, Nader?
Not too much, man. How you doing?
Doing well. Kind of a slow start this morning for me. And these hulking yetis keep knocking me on my ass. I keep thinking I'm doing something wrong, and they freeze me too, so I gotta get used to these mobs. So, recruit a friend mounts, huh?
Yeah, spectral moves on the walls.
Spectral moves. What?
Yeah. The recruiter friend mount.
This is the part where I shudder.
Yeah, it's like a two-person mount.
Oh, is it a two-person mount too?
Yeah, you can get a friend to ride the back of it.
I'm gonna hop on my moose.
It whinnies like a horse.
It's no doubt flying too, so.
Oh, you think it's gonna fly?
I mean,
I bet you will.
That would be stealing.
And then the mob fanning too. I saw that one this morning. Whenever you try to pull everything in the dungeons, the new AI is gonna tell the mob to get behind you. So if you pull too many, you're gonna have half of those behind you. And every time you move, they're gonna reposition right behind you. So I was like, huh, so it looks like...
Wait, what's too many?
Well, like, right now, how many Yetis I got like 5 or 6. I can keep those in front of me. Now, if I had 10 or 12 of them, 6 of those would be behind me. So only how many mobs can fit in front of you will be in front of you, and then the rest are going to circle around behind you. There's going to be a magic number, like 5 or 6 is how many you can pull, unless you don't care about blocking or parrying.
That's retarded.
What I was saying, I commented on the video, I was like, well, it looks like dodge tank builds are going to be really popular, because you can even dodge from behind, right?
Just dumb.
The dev responded like, or you could just pull enough to keep them in front of you. I was like, well, it'd be much cooler if you just dodged. I guess they're trying to make it harder.
So adjust the difficulty of the mobs. Don't make them like that's dumb.
I don't know. I like that they're trying to mitigate the AoE tank thing. They're trying to make it to where everybody's not just power leveling AoE tanking. That's what I saw. Like that's what I thought whenever I saw that.
That pisses me off because now they're altering game mechanics.
Well, yeah, that's
just
kind of what they've been
abuse
doing.
it. Said it. Yeah, but they're like adjusting and like tweaking difficulties, not completely altering the way the AI works.
And that's like PvE difficulty being altered just specifically. And it seems like it is a PvP server, and their focus seems to be more on the PvP side of things, at least from the development perspective it seems. I think they should do something with the caster classes instead of fucking with melee, because the casters is what seems the most weak right now. There's not very many people that have gone to the casting side of the house and stayed there.
That's how every expansion starts. Melee dominate.
I was trying to build a caster build, but there's like, you shoot yourself in the foot so many different ways if you try to pick up more than one school of magic, because so much of just that one specific tree that deals with that magic buffs it, and you can't get those buffs anywhere else really, it seems.
Yeah, and the problem is with this classless system, there's so many ways to interrupt a caster at your disposal. Like in PvP, playing a caster, unless you're a healer, like you're gonna just get kicked.
That too, yeah. Where you need some kind of Swoltar used to do the resolve bar, where you develop immunity to CC over time. Like if you get CC'd with the same type of like snare, you get more and more resistant to that snare. WoW had it to a certain extent, but they like it. I think we were talking about this the other day, where you can get kidney shot and then followed up by hammer of justice, and then like there's all these different types of stuns that they could use. And then
yeah, they should have. I think in Wrath there was diminishing returns.
Right, but only for like if you were getting feared by a lock, you could get diminishing returns on that fear. But then if you follow up with,
it stacks with priest and warrior fears. That there's categories of like there's snares and roots are all like lumped together, stuns are lumped together, disorients are lumped together.
So if a rogue kidney shot me 3 times and I got to where I wasn't kidney shotted for 8 seconds each time, then if I got stunned by a paladin's judgment of justice or whatever, hammer of justice, would I resist it? And then also seal of justice, if they're hitting me with that, would I resist those seals of justice?
So there's an 18% or an 18-second window where if you were to be hit with the same type of CC once every 18 seconds, it would be full duration. Every subsequent time in that, it's reduced from 25. Let's see, the duration is reduced by 50%, by 75%, and then if they did it a third time within that 18 seconds, it would not affect you at all.
So if you built to where you resist stun, fear, charm, etc., talents, then would that be reduced?
I mean, that'd just be a chance for it not to hit. It wouldn't reduce unless you had like reduction talents.
That's what I mean. So if somebody spec'd with reduction talents, like a caster for example, then would they just still be able to freely cast and then be viable?
I mean, I don't know how much reduction you can get.
See, I guess the problem would be is casters rely so much on getting all those talents to boost their moves that they wouldn't be able to spec into those stun reductions and stuff. I found with a caster build I was trying to make, I ended up with so many extra points just for abilities, but I didn't really know what other abilities I wanted to get. It's like, maybe I'll grab Scattershot.
Yeah, you need ways to kite. Concussive shot.
Blind, Scattershot, like that's what I was thinking, hammer of justice.
You need snares and roots or slows from like frost spells.
I had that came with the spec, but like I was trying to find even after I got those what to do with my extra 12 something AE.
The problem is instead of having like 1 or maybe 2 gap closers, you could literally have everything at your disposal as a melee. So all I need is travel form, and I'm breaking every single one of your roots, but then I'm coming up and smashing your face in with dual wield and...
Yeah, but you're limited mana wise with travel form, aren't you?
To some degree.
I think I'm just gonna have to get there and try some shit out and fail a few times and figure out what's good. Because as I'm sitting here theory crafting in my head about it, like, there's no telling what people are going to be building and how to counter those builds. I imagine meme builds will arrive, and there'll be ways to counter those, but it'll probably cost. I just don't want to get pigeonholed into always having the same 3 abilities on my bar no matter what spec. That's what it feels like right now. It's like every spec I pick up, I have a travel, a heal, and buffs. I'm like, I don't want to always have a travel, a heal, and some buffs. I want to be viable without those, because that's like 6 AE I could use somewhere else.
Well, like raiding, like people were saying, like everyone's gonna have either cleanse or decurse just to help out with healers, just because it's so much harder to heal it, like things like that.
Yeah, because those are mana heavy, but you could spec in to make
are
them cheaper.
There are gonna be some kind of cookie cutter things, and I mean it makes sense. Why wouldn't you give yourself some buffs in a travel form if you have the option to like customize it?
And if it is cookie cutter like to that extent, why not just give it to everybody for free?
No, because like you could be that guy that doesn't do it. Like I don't have any of that in my build, but I probably should.
You see? Exactly. So like then you get the culture where it's like, don't be that guy. And then your raid recognizes you're that guy, and then there's a stigma against you for wanting to play your class the right way, or the way you feel like it should be played. So why not just give it to people for free so there's not that argument? I don't know. I gotta get there first. I can't really speak too much.
I think they'll get to like in a 40-man raid. You'll establish, okay, we need this, or there are people that just don't need the abilities. Like I feel like every single one of my abilities on my build are pretty crucial to try to even do DPS, and even then my DPS sucks. Whereas we had a hunter, he's like, yeah, I got extra abilities. He's like, I got decurse and I got a res as a DPS just because I didn't need anything else ability-wise.
I guess raid rules too. Like if you're gonna join the raid leader says bring your own buff food and all that shit. Like back in the day, they're probably just gonna make it to where you have to have your own healing spell or defensive cooldown.
Probably.
Lewis said, "Yo, hey, will you be playing 7.3? Is that Legion? No, I'm not gonna be playing Legion. No other reason than I just want to focus on what I'm doing here." Yeah, I'd really hate for them to end up in that homogenized kind of, like, Wrath of the Lich King is what ended up bringing homogenized classes into the game, where everybody had a self-heal, everybody had, you know what I mean? Like those, it used to be, you had to bring a paladin if you wanted pally buffs. You had to bring a druid if you wanted druid stuff. And like each class had its own role, and you were missing out if you didn't bring those specific classes. And they wanted to get away from that for a while, and they kind of did by giving everybody what those classes had. Like the hunters could summon a pet that would do, you know, what the shaman that you don't have in your group was doing. Like the heroism versus the bloodlust. Like you could get a hunter with a core hound, and it would supplement that.
The hunter pet was extreme because that was like you could literally fill any gap in a group, but to some extent, like they did it to make certain specs viable. Like, why would you? Like, there's some fights where, like, for instance, paladins and shadow priests before Wrath Lich King had no AOE. You literally were a single target. Like, there was no way for you to do AOE damage, which, you know, doesn't seem fair when there's cleave pools and or, you know, I don't know. They did try to balance some things, but at the same time, then they just made everything a little too cookie cutter. They didn't put enough diversity within, like, the balancing.
There was a whole other side of that in the arenas too, because like every change that they made PvE wise affected the arenas, and I think Wrath was where arenas started getting really popular too. So they'd balance something in PvE that would break something in PvP. I guess that's why Legion has its whole honor system with the talents and stuff. I don't know, it's weird. I wanna get to 60 and try some different shit out. I hope I figure out a good way to make money by then, so I can try all these specs out. Just, I don't know. The gear too, like having to carry all the different gear, that's gonna be rough on the inventory slots.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself going from caster to melee, or have you just?
I only did it during the free respec.
Okay.
I tried that shadow DPS spec.
How was that? I didn't really hear much about it when you heard you were gonna do it, and then
It felt really
something
clunky.
Oh, okay. Do you have to? Was it too expensive to get all the shit that you needed to get?
No, it's just the rotation felt funky. Shadow weaving didn't apply to shadow bolt, so you had to be really about not letting your buff drop, because it's only shadow priest spells that allow it to.
Oh, that was something else I was wondering too, because it seemed like all the different classes, if you went Frost Mage, you could probably dip into Enhanced Shaman and use Frost spells there, but I didn't think that those would offer the chill effects that you would get from Frost Mage spells. I was wondering if Warlocks and Shadow Priests synergized really well because of that.
Well, like the increased damage from Shadow Weaving applied, but like Shadow Bolt wouldn't reapply a stack of Shadow Weaving. So if you weren't paying attention and didn't reapply your priest buff, like you would lose all 5 stacks of Shadow Weaving, which is like 15% shadow damage, something like that. 10% shadow damage.
When I made Spitfire, I made him Spitfire because I was going to be a marriage between Destruction Warlock and Fire Mage. But so much of the, well, even Enhanced Shaman to a certain extent, because the Flame Shock. I wanted Flame Shock, Searing Totem, even Flame Tongue Weapon to all activate Ignite from the Fire Tree. And then I wanted to use Destruction Warlock, Incinerate dot ticks, and Incinerate initial damage, and Rain of Fire and Hellfire. I wanted all that to activate Ignite and fire shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But none of those classes' moves talk to each other, so it was really kind of demoralizing. I was like, really? Like, if you're gonna have fire spells, like everything that's fire spells should activate all this cool shit from these other trees that has to do with fire spells. But that would probably be way too OP.
No, it'd make blending the classes together a little better.
I wish it was that way. I wish there was a way for them to do that to where it felt like it worked.
Unless it's a talent to like a specific like tree, like Affliction one has like increased the damage of your affliction spells.
Yeah.
Like if it's just when fire spells crit, like it should be an overall branch. I agree. I don't think it should be class fire spell.
Because melee works that way. Like so much of melee seems like it works that way.
Yeah, that's probably also the problem with the caster discrepancy.
Caster talents specifically keep you pigeonholed into that specific class.
I was trying to find a way to do a feral cat with poisons, since you attack so fast. Like you'd be able to apply poison so quickly.
Yeah. Like Frosty Paws but with poisons.
Yeah, but you need so many talents to buff the poisons. It's kind of...
Would you be able to go into the druid and shaman's nature damage buffing shit? Like Storm Strike poisons?
You probably could. I don't know if you can Storm Strike from cat form.
That would be cool. Storm Strike poisons with Maelstrom chain lightnings. Because that's all nature damage.
Yeah, and
see, that's what's weird about spells, is like none of these spells that you think, like if it's nature damage, then all the nature damage shit should apply.
And then there's like there's a couple of rogue ones that increase your attack power against enemies that are poisoned.
Oh yeah.
And then like you can take Hunger for Blood to increase your damage against bleeding targets, because as a druid you're gonna be bleeding. There's a couple of different things where you can buff it.
Yeah, I got a handful of themes I want to try out. I was thinking that it'd be also cool to get a build that deals with all the level 50 and above talent moves. So you get like all the level 50 above talent moves that you can use that work well together. Because it seems like as you get higher level, those higher level talent moves hit harder than any other move that you can get. So I have like an Avenger Shield Devastate, like I don't even know, Holy Shock, Tree Form build or something. I'm just naming high level talents that I can think of, but you know what I mean? Like weird themes. I thought it'd be cool to make like a weird themes, different builds.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So yeah, respecking is going to be a thing. But really, as easy as it is to farm these like areas in the different level ranges, I might just go grind gear and sell epics and blues on the auction house for income. And that'd be a good way to test my different move builds and shit.
I don't think Storm Strikes doesn't say usable while shapeshifted, so I don't know if it'll bring let you do it.
Will it actually specify usable by shapeshifted if you can?
It usually does.
But you could use hemorrhage while shapeshifted, right? Or does that actually say?
No, I don't think you can use rogue abilities in cat form or bear form.
Oh wow. Yeah, you would think all the combo point moves would be usable in rogues.
Yeah,
Shit,
like
and
Feral
cat
Spirit
shit.
says usable while shapeshifted, but none of the other shaman attacks seem to.
Oh, okay. So it would take you out of form to use those?
Looks like it.
I saw Gershon, he built the build like that where he had moves that weren't usable while shapeshifted and he was in and out of shapeshifting often. Lewis said, hey, if I download the game, does it appear in my game servers or do I have to keep changing files to play live in private? You'd have to actually download a whole separate client for this one, Lewis. It's the Wrath of the Lich King client. You'd have to go to the website and it's like a 16 gig download. But you can keep them separate. Yeah, you can have separate instances of WoW. Like I got the Legion one, the Elysium Project server, and Wrath of the Lich King on this computer, but all of those are each their own downloads.
Not enough rage.
Yeah, man, no worries. I wonder if they put that shit in already, the mob fanning, because it looks like these Yetis are trying to get behind me. Yeah, he's trying to get behind me. I think they added it already.
Dang.
They do it on, like, in real time too, like they reposition on the fly. All that means is I gotta stay mobile though. Like I can keep them in front of me if I just keep half circling around them. I guess that's cool. I mean, kind of added mechanic thing. Because they only reposition when they plant. If you keep moving, then you can keep them in front of you. So just added skill check, it seems. Shit, it'd be fucked up if they added like mob fanning and melee mobs have backstab now. I remember Black Desert Online, I was playing that for a while, and if something got behind you, it did more damage to you. It got like a flanking damage bonus. So you would never let mobs behind you.
That makes sense.
think it'd be fucked up to see mobs running around with player moves. That would be cool. That would have to be its own server though, because this, even this right here, them fanning behind you, affects the leveling experience. So everybody that's max level right now kind of got there in a cheaty way. Or it would be looked at like that by everybody that still has to level. I guess it's like the grandfather clause though. Wyvern Fall Gaming says, Jake Paul is after my channel, JK. Jake Paul is after my channel, just joking. Lewis said, Jake Paul? Wyvern Fall Gaming said, just a joke. And then Lewis says, yeah, but Jake Paul is just cringy as the devil.
I can't carry any more of those. I can't carry any more of those.
Them cringes.
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
Wyvern Fall Gaming says, imagine if the Scourge spawned all over Stormwind. It's happened before. Actually, this was the expansion that brought that. I remember BC to Wrath of the Lich King, whenever they started infesting players with that Ebon Plague or some shit like that.
Oh man, I remember that.
Shatrath was a mess. Anybody that went to Shatrath,
Oh my god.
it was over. That was insane.
It's too far away. I need to get closer. I'm afraid.
Lewis went to work with Dad once some kid came up and went, better be a Jake Pauler. He was like 12. Wyvernfall Gaming said, corrupted blood? Yes, exactly. Man, I wish I was streaming back then. It would have been cool to capture that shit. There's a lot of cool shit like that back then. I don't think I knew about streaming back then. Y'all let me know if I get quiet because I got pushed to talk on today and I keep forgetting. I'm sitting here talking to myself and y'all ain't hearing half of it.
Such a bad streamer.
Nah, you're
Yeah.
okay.
There's a guild on this server, the Medivh War main server, and it's Gummies Orphans.
Gummies orphans. Yeah. That's cool.
Look at you finding that underworld band.
Generates an extra rage point when melee attacking. It's pretty decent, but it's a spell power or spirit ring.
Is that the shadow damage one?
I think it's spirit stamina. Spirit, or 10 stamina, 6 spirit, 12 spell power.
Alright, I think in vanilla it was shadow damage. It's still pretty good.
Oh yeah, they're fanning me right now. Don't die.
Actually a really good ring. I saw someone doing cat form with Titan's Grip two-hander shield because they were taking advantage of the armor to the teeth, so they were getting the damage from a two-hander, and stats from a two-hander, but they were using a shield for the extra armor in their offhand since the offhand damage didn't matter.
Yeah, that's legit, man. Just like the arms warriors back in the day. Or Fury Warriors, I mean. I used to see Fury Warriors in Battlegrounds with shields and a two-hander. It looked pretty awesome. You don't get the, what is it, the increased chance to miss whenever you're just with one two-hander, right?
Correct.
All them stats, that's badass.
Yeah. You don't have the miss penalty of dual wielding, but you get the added stats that come on two-handed weapons versus one-handed weapons. Especially for cat form. Cat form actually not bad because of the stacking feral attack power on weapons. It's actually not a bad idea to do Titan's Grip, because with the weapons in that game, there's the added attack power to feral forms, which is higher on two-handers versus one-handers.
I was seeing those boomkins dual wielding Titan's Grip staves with dual flame tongue, and that I forget who it was, one of the developers before the game came out. It was like beta testing.
Do that, plus you take the... I wonder if that would work if you were dual wielding stabs and also had like the staff haste buff as well. I wonder if you can do that with the staff in your offhand.
Ooh, grab both of them?
Yeah, I doubt it would work.
Thought of that.
Because it says like cast, like shield or like held in offhand, I think. But
increases haste by 20% when a staff or a caster offhand is equipped. Yeah, dual wield staves.
oh, it does work. Dang, double dip. Dual wield.
Titan crit, dual wield, staff mastery. That's a lot of points investment too. Might be worth it though. It might just be crazy enough to work.
Yeah, but think about it too. You get how much stats you get from stabs. You're not worried about the hit chance because you're not actually smacking people with them.
Yeah.
Plus, you can put the stronger spell power and chance on stabs compared to one-handers typically. Or maybe not. Maybe caster ones are across the board. But still, you can get two of them.
Hell yeah. Wyvernfall Gaming says, talking to Elude about the Ebony Plague. Lewis said, they use that event for real life studies on how stuff spreads and how to stop it from spreading. Right, for studying, what is it, contagions and airborne diseases. And Wyvernfall Gaming said, yeah, I know, crazy, huh? And then he said, Ice Crown is the hardest Wrath of Lich King area. Lewis says, rogues with bucklers, dual wield warglaves, like I do. I was thinking it'd be cool to dual wield shields, but that's not a thing. I just have like a 2 shield tank.
Shield slam with like 2 shields at the same time.
Boo boo boo.
That would certainly be interesting.
Shield slam, dual wielding shields with reckoning. That would be nasty.
Can't carry any more of those.
And then sword and board, so it's like always up.
Yeah, you would have like no way of being hit.
Not ready yet.
Yeah, so mob fanning is a thing, it seems. I'm gonna see how big a pool I can get and see if I can survive it. It's weird too because like the bigger the mob, the more they kind of spread out. So it wouldn't be a problem to get a lot if you had smaller mobs. Another Ankh of Life. Is this any good? It says increase your damage done by arcane spells and your crit strike chance by 1%. Eh. Dodge agility neck.
That moment in your life as a warrior when the WC staff is your best 2-handed weapon. Sad.
What? That sucks.
Yeah, I had a green before that, and the top end damage on the staff is better, so I'm sitting here as a warrior running around the staff.
The spirit staff?
Oh, it's like 7 stamina, 7 intellect, 7 spirit from WC, the quest one.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the 12 spirit staff. I was like, ew. But still, I bet you that was probably just as good for you.
Let's get my weapons go up faster because I have more intellect.
Staves aren't all bad. I've had a staff for a while. That
They actually do a lot
apothecary
of
10
damage.
stamina staff's pretty decent. So you were on Medivh? What is Medivh?
Medivh is Warmane's ×1 PPC server instead of their ×5 one.
Oh, okay. I was
That's
asking,
where-
I was like, I wonder if is that the Northcraft? But
No, it's
Warmane.
where a bunch of the people that were going to play Gummy ended up going. That was what play Gummy with.
see. I really can't forget to put my magma totem down. I keep on forgetting that. Not too bad. These pools I'm barely skating by though. I'm like 10% there. And then I'm forgetting my water shield refresh. I think it's just too much for my brain to handle all the different things I got going on. Like, not in the zone enough. Ooh, Heaven's Light. Reduce the mana cost to your shock, lightning bolt, chain lightning, and lava burst, and wind shear. I saw wind shear. You could spec the cooldown of that down and have that up often in the, I think, elemental.
It's already only 6 seconds. Like, yeah, you don't need to spec it down at all. Like, even on mobs, like, it was coming up like every other cast, so they were only getting off like 1 out of like every 3 casts.
I thought it'd be useful for the PvPs though. Have it up all the time.
Seems like a lot of points to invest just for a kick when you can just pick up a second kick instead for like 2 ability
Yeah.
points. Oh god, this mob rooted me and it's a question mark. He ran away.
This is a better mace for me. 4 of every stat. Heaven's Light. That's not a bad. Less DPS, but more minimum to maximum damage. So yeah, that's a clear win. And my shock spells are cheaper and stuff. Blech. Quick bio. I'll be right back.
What shield do you have on?
It's that green tower shield. It's like 17 gold on the auction house now, but when I got it, it was only 6.
Is it a epic?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's got a shitload of armor, so that was the main reason. And then it gave me like nature damage thorns and increasing nature resistance. But I shield spiked it.
Yeah, I think the Skull Flame shield's the top end shield, unless you get the Uber's one.
I've seen that one around. I haven't got one yet though. Yeah, dual shield casters, Wyvernfall. 2 shield caster. Have like a true battle mage, like tanky and armored up. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go bio.
Oh, thanks, Greg, for subbing to his channel, man. Appreciate it. I'll let him know when he comes back if he hasn't seen. He's bad like that at not recognizing his community. JK.
Yeah, he's just getting started.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. I just don't know what to play. I got a bunch of people playing on this TBC server. I keep watching this guy play vanilla, and I want to play vanilla. And then Ascension is just fun because it's different. I don't know what to play.
Play Ascension, it is fun.
Just every time I get on at night, there's no one around, and I can't get groups for anything. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Because I think the most of the player base that's already on there is EU. So it's just like when I get home from work, not being able to run dungeons, just kind of lame, and there's no battlegrounds going.
Yeah, definitely.
I would like it to work.
Is Sargeras the same way?
I have no idea, but I'm not about to. Dude, I can't. I'm not about to go to MC, get ganked, and then not be able to raid because all my gear's gone.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
Kinda suck. That would be the worst. Hey guys, raid's canceled tonight because the Horde or the Alliance were ganking Blackrock Mountain and we lost all of our progression. So let's go back to Ubers and let's get some more gear.
Okay, yeah. That would definitely suck. So, 9 people watching. How are you guys doing?
Greg Chambers said, "Yo, man, I subbed." Smiley face. Lewis said, "Nice."
Yeah, we
Nader
told him you're
said-
terrible to your subs, so he unsubbed and left, actually.
He said I was terrible to myself.
Yeah, you don't recognize them or do anything for your subs, so he left.
Oh, he
already.
totally did. Oh my goodness.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Did he really?
How dare you?
More than some streamers I see. I'm still catching up on chat. Northern is cool and epic. I hope World War III is not soon. Oh, right. North Korea. Much fear.
Yeah.
Such scared.
I don't know if we'd get to a World War III now.
Some people say that we need a global crisis in order to be closer. And we were never closer until 9/11. Like, everybody was more patriotic and friendly to each other.
I think with the way, with the United Nations now, I don't think that they would let it escalate to World War III. They would just come down on one country and not let it, like, scale that hard.
I guess the big stink with North Korea is like they're a nuclear superpower now, or potentially. I think that the nuke would probably get 2 feet off the ground before we shot it out of the sky.
Yeah, I think they're surrounded by enough countries with anti-nuclear defenses that it wouldn't get very far.
Shit, whenever I was in Iraq, we used to get mortared on the camp I was in. They had this, it looked like R2-D2 sitting up on top of a hill. And all you hear is, and then you'd hear boo 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 boo. And it was an anti-missile defense kind of gun. I think it was like, I forgot what they called it. It was like the Phalanx weapon system or some shit like that. And this thing would blow mortars out of the sky before they even hit the ground.
Yeah, my buddy's a CWIS tech on a Navy ship, so he's anti-missile.
Yeah, it was exactly that. They got it from a Navy ship.
It's just like a little portable CWIS?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's like the type of shit that we have nowadays, like, as far advanced as we are with our technology and weapon systems, we ain't gotta worry about no second world country.
Don't be saying that on the internet. He could be watching right now.
Yeah,
Greg Chambers
you might
could be
unsub. No, stick around. I need your sub. You don't want King John to unsub from you. Many dishonor on your family after that. Greg Chambers says this is all Obama's fault. Lewis said patch. I'm missing chat. I'm sorry guys, I'm horrible to my
Obama's fault. How about he's still cleaning up from freaking Bush? Let me get back to the real problem.
How much can one guy do in the short amount of time he's in office, really?
See, there's the thing is, it's also how much you don't do.
Yeah.
And when you can't even say a quote like "fool me once" correctly, I question your ability to make other decisions.
The point is, you can't get fooled.
I mean, clearly we got fooled twice in elections, so I guess shame on us.
I saw a video of him speaking when he was younger, very well articulate, very well spoken and read, and then him older whenever he was doing that "fool me once" stuff, and it was like different people altogether. Like two different people. It's the same person, but it sounded like two completely different people in that amount of time that's passed. I think a lot of the presidents too just don't realize how thickly interwoven and interconnected all these things are that they say they want to change. Then they get into office and they see how things are actually working and why it's that way, and they can't just quickly make the changes they promised.
Yeah, I think that the problem is they have all these obstacles and there's other people with hidden agendas, and unless you're Trump and you're just trying to force your hand, which isn't necessarily going so well. Like you look like a dictator when you try to force things to happen, but there's all these stops and safe walls and people with other agendas and that are able to sway their say. So it's just funny. Like, you get a guy who's going to make these changes, i.e. Trump, even though I don't agree with most of them. But the second he starts trying to do these things against the normal flow of politics, he's like, oh my God, he's a dictator.
Yeah.
He's running wild. Granted, I think 100% of what he said is, like, most of his policies are nuts, but the fact that he's trying to go around the normal political systems
He's the
is,
most
I think, more
non-traditional president we've had in a long time. Because he owns himself. Like, he's not speaking for anybody, any controlling interest. Because he's got his own bank account that he draws his funds from.
Yeah. Well,
But,
actually,
like,
he doesn't.
He's got loose lips. Like,
He can't access any of his personal funds and stuff while he's president. It's all like has to be pushed aside.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you forfeit all of like your basically everything you owned goes on hiatus until you're done. That's why his son had to be made the CEO of his company while he was gone. He can't be in controlling interests and stuff like that. But I guarantee, even though he's not the name on the door, he is controlling it. I mean,
Hell yeah.
so.
Yeah, he is. I honestly question whether or not he'll make it the years.
I give it like mid 2018 before he is finally reached the point where he's going to be removed. But then we have what? I don't even remember his freaking running mate. Oh my God, Pence?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, but I think he's a little bit more normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. He's from Indiana. That's what it is, so.
There's so much I don't know about politics and government that I can't really speak too very intelligently about any of it.
Yeah, I try to avoid it because anytime it comes up anywhere, it's just an argument. No matter like how civil you try to be, someone gets mad or like, I don't know.
It ultimately is just like with politics is my side and my ideas versus your side and your ideas.
Yeah, there's
That's
never
why
like
it always ends up being an argument.
there's never discussion. It's just berating someone with your beliefs, hoping that you can beat them into submission.
Yeah, no, it's more red than that. No, oh, it's more blue than that. No, it's more
It
light
never
than
used to
that.
be that way either, which is
Or,
so
like,
sad.
I think like someone was talking about like a comment he made like 7 years ago about women serving in the military, and it was talking about like
It's not even the same
and
world.
it came up today, and it's like, well, one, it's not going to change. They're going to serve. Two, he brings up a point. It does affect a man differently when he watches a woman get killed versus a man get killed. Like, that is a problem. Or like they're saying, I think it had to do with like the number of rape cases versus convictions. And I'm like, I'm not condoning that these acts happen, but if you put a female on a Navy boat for 10 months with men who have no access to women, they're gonna be stupid.
Yeah. Same with deploying, like when we were overseas in like Iraq and third world countries and shit. Like, the amount of women in the population is important. Because they had battle buddy systems. Like, in order for a woman to go to the bathroom at night, she had to get a couple battle buddies to go with her. And these are our own friendly forces that we're protecting against. But they still need to be protected because of just like what you were saying, like a woman on a boat. And it's not always the men that's doing it, like the women too. Like, the women have this issue with separation, and like they're just as much like men.
It just brings a whole different dynamic. And up until the last 30 years, wars were not fought by women. It's not a normal thing of war. If you look back in the history of war, other than like you look back at like the crazy like maybe old like Greek war heroes where you had a woman leading an army, like that wasn't the norm. And they weren't in the actual heat of battle. They were commanding it from afar. Like, it's different when you have them on the front lines. I don't know.
They're also like genetically built different.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there are some women that would whip my ass, so I'm not going to say they're not capable of doing it at all. But it's just it's a different, I don't know, dynamic. But someone was getting so mad about like the comment that he said about like, well, if they weren't in the military, the rapes wouldn't happen. I'm like, yeah, that is true. If they weren't in that situation, it wouldn't happen. It doesn't make it right or wrong.
rapes would still happen. Like, they're There's still men who like men.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like they were talking about like the percentage of convictions for rape claims in the military is like
right.
like
Women
something
are more
like
likely to
ungodly
report
low, like
rape
something
than men
ridiculous.
too. There's like so many
That
variables.
is also true.
Like a man, if he gets raped by a woman, he's less likely to speak up about it because of the stigma of men.
Or if he gets raped by another man, he's less likely just because he
Right.
doesn't want to bring that up. But I think that, I don't know, I think it'd be interesting to see because like it's such a small controlled population. How does it compare to like general population like occurrences and it's like that? I think someone's only looking at it from like the standpoint of, oh, this happens in the military, but that if you compared it to like everything else,
Yeah.
like just rape in general and the conviction rate and the number of people that step forward, I wonder how it would compare.
Sometimes it's hard to study those things too, because like you can only really get an accurate study the larger census you do.
Yeah.
In such a small group and such specific circumstances, it's really hard to study that.
Well, yeah, it was like that CTE study that just came out and said like 97% of, or like 90 something percent of the athletes that they studied had CTE. But what they didn't tell you was they were all experiencing symptoms before their death. And so that's why they were then checked. It wasn't like,
is that concussions or?
yeah, that's the football concussion thing. They did a study from like high school to retired NFL players, and they found like 90% of the brain tissue they tested had CTE, but all of those people were reporting symptoms before they died.
Yeah.
So
Concussions
like,
is weird, man.
so like it was really, it sounded like, oh my goodness, if you play football, no matter what, you're gonna get it. But it was like, no, these people were reporting symptoms, which is why they were involved in the study. So it makes sense that you would find it in a high population. But then it was like portrayed to the media, oh my God, everybody that plays football.
All people, like 80% of the people in football have concussions. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like you said. It was they had symptoms of being concussed or whatever. I don't know what the acronym CTE stands for, but they took that as they all actually have concussions. I guess the big scare too was that guy with the Colts. They said he murdered his mother and had no idea he did that.
Well, I mean, those are older cases. This study that came out was like literally a couple of weeks ago. But I think what's more scary for me, especially since I'm probably gonna be having kids soon, is that if a high schooler can develop this condition only after, 7-8 years of playing at a lower level compared to college or pro level, like why would you want to subject yourself to 30 years of that, getting increasingly more violent?
And another thing with concussions is they say people who jet ski all their lives, just the waves from the water jet skiing gives them concussions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that this hasn't been done on boxers. I'm surprised boxers don't.
Isn't that what the whole Will Smith movie thing was about? Like him pointing out how the fighting, or just sports in general, a lot of these hard-hitting...
It was the NFL players because there was a series of NFL, ex-NFL players that went off the rocker, like mostly suicides, but that was back in the early 2000s when that actually occurred. So this study was since then.
Yeah, they've made like improvements in the equipment and the gear that they've been wearing since then, and probably even in the rules and regulations of like what's a safe hit. Because I noticed that while I was growing up, that a lot of football's changed, like the rules and what you can do and what's considered a safe hit and like the fair catch and all that shit. But I never really followed sports too much. I played a little football in high school. It's probably about all I know about it. Can't get a concussion playing WoW though. And you can't get a concussion playing on the Project Ascension server on the Andorhal PvP.
Sell out.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Don't forget to follow on Facebook, like on Twitter, and take pictures from Instagram.
Exactly.
We need 1,000 likes on this video.
Can we get 1,000 likes?
Yeah.
By the way, drink Pepsi.
Oh my gosh.
The #1 gaming juice resource fuel.
I think I'm done with this stream, guys. Have a good day.
I've been missing chat. Mathematical calculations say Aegis can defend from worlds and nuclear arsenal. Oh, okay. Wyvernfall with the stats in chat. JD McFly 22 Gaming says, but can they sew it physically? Probably do it physically.
Yeah.
Autocorrect Lyfe. Wyvernfall Gaming says, yes, I factored in stealth nukes, torpedoes, and bombers. Wyvernfall Gaming says, can't argue with math. JD McFly 22 Gaming said, okay. Court Malone said, grats. And Court Malone also said, Coke is greater than Pepsi.
I do have to give Pepsi the fact they have Mountain Dew makes them better than Coke as a company.
It's
Well,
true.
we weren't talking about hard drugs.
No.
I was talking about a soft drink.
You want to talk about soft drugs?
We don't do cocaine.
Just caffeine.
Right. Caffeine and gratuitous amounts of sugar.
Copious amounts of caffeine. Not just any caffeine.
Dopamine? I only do something if it gives me a dopaminergic rush. They said that that's what you get whenever you're scrolling through Facebook, or in my case Reddit, and you're looking for that funny cat video or something, or that new piece of interesting news. You get that buildup of dopamine, and it keeps building until you find that thing, and then there's like a release. And you're like, yes! Fucking cats! Sweet! And it's like you get rewarded. So you get addicted to that. You keep scrolling and keep scrolling, looking for that fix, and you're itching and twitching the whole time.
Saw a pretty cool picture of some idiot trying to take the pit out of an avocado and put a hand through it, or a knife through his hand.
Oh my god. I was just carving an avocado yesterday, and I was thinking, man, I hope I don't put this knife through my hand.
Oh, I have an actual avocado tool that has a plastic end to cut it open, a pit grabber, and then a slicer, and it's all plastic, and you will never cut yourself.
Oh man.
But this idiot was trying to cut the pit out of this, instead of just using the blade of the knife to twist the avocado pit out, and he put the hand, like, he literally was in the ER with the avocado stuck to his hand because he couldn't pull the knife out.
Damn.
Yeah, to make his coffee.
Alright. Court Malone says cocaine is greater than Pepsi cane. Nader said, hush, Court. Smiley face with the teepee showing. And then JD McFly Gaming said, ah ha 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 at ah. He started laughing and then he fell. Did you see that? He was like, ha 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 ha, and then he was like, ah. Just imagine him falling off a cliff. Poor guy. JD McFly, no!
Wyvernfall Gaming.
Wyvernfall Gaming, Wikia plus VPN equals awesomest because no bannability. Oh man. I used to use one of those. They had this service called Smooth Ping. You could reduce your latency.
I can't do that yet.
But I just used it to reduce latency. But it would spoof my IP address in the process. I only browse the dark web. Or the deep web. Is it dark web or deep web? I don't know what it's called, I just know the way
It's
it
called
browses.
dark web.
Clearly you don't browse it.
Yeah, man. I use the
You wouldn't
onion,
want to browse it.
the
Ugh.
onion thing. They had like a MySpace on it or something, so I totally signed up. I was like, here's a time machine back to the 90s. Any AOL chatters in the in the stream today? ASL?
ASL, oh my goodness. Creeper alert.
That was back whenever you saw the nudie pics load from the top to the bottom, the left to the right, 1 pixel across at a time. You'd be like, there's her hair! Here comes the
Wait,
boobs!
nipple. Oh
Here
no,
comes
just
the
mole,
boobs!
just a mole, just a mole.
And then you find out it's blurred, and you're like, no! Because you spent 20 minutes waiting for the picture to load.
Is that your wife in the background?
No, it's my oldest son. His voice
Oh.
is going to start changing soon.
My bad.
What's up, little dude?
Little dude. Oh. I was like, I'm not little.
No, not you.
What'd you say to me?
Set on my face.
He's got a small man complex. Run. No, dude, we have I have a student at my work. He's a first-year PT student doing some rotations,
Yeah.
and he's working under my boss, and so I end up having to like take orders from him.
He's under
And this
your
dude is shorter than my wife's 5'1", and this dude might be shorter than my wife.
Yeah, don't browse.
And it is like awful. He's like a student telling me what to do when he doesn't know how to do it, and I'm just like, oh, I just want to like punch you square in the face.
They're like
Does he
feisty
drive a really big
chihuahuas.
truck?
I don't know what he drives. I don't think he drives a big truck.
He has like the fold out ladder. They normally have them whenever you're rappelling out of a helicopter or something, those little rope ladders. That's how he gets in every day.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
He uses a...
No, it's one of those things where it's like he'll be with a patient and then he'll come and have me do like the last little bit, and I'm like, dude, you're a student. You should be doing every little bit of thing. You shouldn't be passing off any work. But I can't say anything to him because my boss is letting him do it, so it's okay with my boss. It's just frustrating.
So he's delegating.
Yeah, he's delegating things that he should probably be doing himself and learning, in my opinion. But what do I know?
I can't do that.
Just getting set up from failure for the start.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
my first job post college was working at Walmart, and the manager, the general manager that worked there, was about 5'6", and he drove a Chevrolet Avalanche with a lift kit on it, and it's
Oh,
just
no.
like, yeah, and he could barely get in it, and it was the funniest thing to see him get in it.
Big man on campus.
Yeah,
Now, is that a
And-
little man's complex or is that just a Walmart thing?
probably both. Probably both.
Look at what I can afford with my Walmart paycheck.
Yeah.
No, it's just like we see at Walmart, little ass man getting out of a Savalanche.
Savalanche.
I guess we call a trick out avalanche a Savalanche, obviously.
Nice. I never really had a big interest in the trucks, in the big trucks. I was more like a muscle car guy. But not super flashy or anything like that. I had a very subdued GTO. Took that shit to Austin, man. Quickest way to get rid of a vehicle, I'll tell you that much. Got like 3 wrecks within the span of 2 months. These college
Man.
kids all over the roads, and also partially attributed to Mother Nature. I got a deer run out in front of me at night.
Dude, we hit an elk with our bus in high school, come back from a soccer.
Oh my god.
with the front end of the bus about 3 feet in.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Elk,
Dude,
they can get huge.
We hit this, I want to say it was like a 6-point bull elk, like just massive elk at freeway speed. It launched like 30 yards down the highway, got up, ran off the freeway before it ended up dying.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
And this is in the middle of nowhere, so it took them like 3 hours to get us another bus because they had to, like, 1, get a hold of someone because we didn't have self-service. 2, like, hey, by the way, we need a bus driver to go to the thing and get a bus because this was already like 6 o'clock at night. It was already like an hour and a half drive. So it took like 3 hours to get us a bus, and then we had to like drive back. We didn't get home till like 1 in the morning. And then that same year, we also hit a deer. We were out to kill wildlife that year.
Yeah, man. Natural selection. Population control.
Where are you, in Canada?
No, I was in Oregon.
Oh.
Close enough.
Yeah, I may as well.
Up in the northers. And for me, it was a deer, and then a college kid, and then a soccer mom. All fucked me up, like, all within a short span of a few months. I was so burnt out. I was like, oh my god, I can't seem to fucking drive my vehicle on the roads anymore. I was starting to think, like, maybe it's something I'm doing wrong. Poor
I go insurance fried.
Yeah, insurance was pissed off at me for a bit. It wasn't my fault. Like, none of them were my fault.
It was everyone else.
I mean, you can play that off with the deer, but come on. 2 wrecks on top of that?
It was crazy because the student, it was a construction zone out by University of Texas. We had just finished doing our Changing the Story luncheon. We had an annual luncheon we would do where we recognize proactive community members. And they had just named a school after this guy, so we threw him a lunch, like, recognition thing at the AT&T Center. But yeah, just finished a long ass day of doing all that shit. Just coming home, I actually had to stop back by work before I came home, and I was pulling out of the parking lot, and this kid comes by in a Volkswagen and just T-bones me. So I was all fucked off from that and caved in the driver's side. I think if he would have hit me a foot further, if I was a foot further out, he would have hit the driver's side door where I was at. But he hit my 5.7 liter engine instead and just came to an abrupt stop.
Yeah, you don't go through that too easily.
No, it was pretty fucking rough, man. But then a little bit later after that, actually before that, whenever I was in I was still in class whenever, was it 2 months before that? It felt like it was a longer period of time, but just 2 months before that I was finishing up my technical school at the Everest Institute in Austin, and I was making an hour drive back and forth from Austin to Killeen outside of Fort Hood, and there was a deer jumped out in front of me, and I was taking night classes. It was like 1 a.m. and he caved in the passenger side front end of the GTO. I had just got that shit out of the shop.
I almost hit a deer my very first day driving solo.
Oh man.
Literally got my license, was driving out to my dad's house, so like, hey, look, I got my license, and almost hit a deer in the process.
That sucks. Cause it is like they don't trust you. Like, you can't drive. It's not my fault, it's the fucking deer. Deer population, man, they can get out of control. People think it's nice to see the deer like out in the wild and shit like that, but there's no like natural predators for them around, at least in Texas.
Yeah.
We're having the problem up in Oregon that they're not letting us hunt cougars with dogs anymore, and so the cougars are just wreaking havoc on the deer and elk.
Oh man. Well, that's a good thing as long as the cougar population stays in check.
No, it's like the point where like the deer population's like getting low, but they're not amending it to use dogs to help hunt cougars.
Oh, okay.
So the cougar population's expanding while the deer and elk are shrinking, so it's not a good situation.
Oh, I dinged a while back. Damn, I could already be talented a little bit.
Dude,
Oh,
pay
no.
attention. You're like 15% in on one.
Liverfall Gaming says, "See, I'm playing WoW Legion." I was just thinking it's chat. I've been reading chat and we've been talking politics and shit. Yeah, I'm only really good at one thing. If I'm focused on one thing. They're behind you. And they're stunning. Which one of these are stunning so much? Oh, I'm out of mana. Alright, finally.
Warrior looks so funny with the staff on. Really confusing what I'm playing right now. But it was like a 7 DPS increase, so it's kind of hard to turn down.
Man, I remember the days.
The warrior days?
No. Just where you didn't care where you got the buff, you just wanted the buff.
Yeah.
Wearing cloth as a feral druid because it just had better stats on it than
It was like,
leather.
it was like Westfall, Tunic of the Monkey. Why does this cloth chest have monkey stats on it? I don't know, but I'm using it.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually, when I first started playing, I wanted my gear to match, so I didn't even look at stats. I just wanted it to look like it was gear that matched. So I had like of the Falcon shit on, my priest. It was like, I guess Falcon's not too bad because it's.
Oh, you're one of those agility
anyway.
healers.
But yeah, that's what it was. I was an agility healer before that was a thing. I did it first.
Or you did it first. Sorry, Lyfe.
Later, Wyvern. Later, Lewis. Nader said bye, Wyvern.
Nader said later.
Later, Nader. That's one thing about this spec. I haven't really thought about what I'm doing past the point I'm at right now, so I don't really know what I want to put points in. Oh, right. No, I know. I'm going to increase my armor. Of course. Armor stacking.
It's lower in the trees, the purple. Oh, you got that one? Try the Prot Warrior one.
Well, I'm thinking of increasing ice armor, demon armor, and Mark of the Wild.
I think you'll get more benefit from doing flat armor from your gear.
I've already got all
I
those.
guess. Oh, you got the Prot Warrior and that one?
Yeah, I went with the Feral Druids, the Beastmaster Hunters, I think. Yeah. And the Protection Pallies, and
Do
top warriors.
Do you have an aspect yet? Oh, you don't have enough ability points.
I don't want more moves. I just want more.
As they put aspect of the monkey on, you get 2% more dodge.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna go with more armor.
You could also go defense rating, which would increase your blocking and stuff like that too.
Where's defense rating?
It'd be like in, like if you look at protection spec. Oh, I don't have it. It'd be like anticipation and protection for like warrior, like that orc. That one, the orc one.
That's dodge.
Oh, is it dodge? Oh, it's dodge. They got rid of defense rating out of it. Never mind then. It changed in Lich King compared to TBC.
I think I'm gonna spec my armors up. I was just trying to figure out which would be more effective.
I would go demon skin first because that'll also increase your healing.
Oh, true that. Good idea. And that's 3 points, whereas
Yeah,
Mark of
it's
the
in
Wild
demonology.
and Frost Armor are 2 points. I was thinking what would give me more armor per point. We'll just do Demonic Aegis. That'll work.
I think Demonic Aegis, that's 33% more effective.
Whereas the other two are 50% more effective, right?
Yeah, I'd probably go that one, and then Mark of the Wild, because you're also going to get some stats from that one versus just armor. But yeah, you should pick up Aspect of the Monkey as your next ability. Just 2% flat dodge. And you don't have to recast it, you just put it on. Or Aspect of the Beast is pretty good. It's just 5% attack power.
With the moves, the abilities, I was going to pick up Shield Slam soon.
Oh, that'd be nice too, probably.
And then try to get... I think I'm going to wait on that though until I can get Sword and Board. And Shield Slam with Sword and Board procs.
Oh, you'll need or you have Revenge, so does it work with Revenge?
Yeah, it works with Revenge.
I know it works on Devastate, I wasn't sure about Revenge. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Back to the Ghostland.
Ghostlands. Ooh.
Yeah, I gotta finish up like all the group quests there, then I'm done there. Then I can head to Hillsbrad or something like that. The guy's name, full DPS tank as a warrior.
Oh, Lewis was saying later to gaming. I got it. My bad, man.
Your mana problems are just, man.
Oh, I bet you I probably have to train.
Well, you also should have Judgment of Wisdom. Instead of just regular.
Light Judgment of Light. I've actually considered speccing Judgment of Light down because you get that flat 2% from the target you judge. The more health you have, the more that 2% heals. But I noticed whenever I'm AoEing, if I can get Judge on a couple of targets, then my AoE gets 4% for just a second or two. Doesn't really work when they're stunning me though.
Are you talking about Seal of Light or Judgment? Because you're not using the Judgment that you're using isn't the mana one.
Oh, mana is not really an issue for me.
Oh, okay.
But the healing, yeah, I'm talking about the heal of light.
Healing, got it.
All
yeah,
my
the Flurry
healing
Bear,
is...
you didn't have to judge. All you did was have the Seal of Light up. It was nice.
Yeah, my mana is only an issue whenever I'm neglecting my water shield. I've been doing that a lot with these because it goes down so often. I need to refresh it.
You should just macro it into your main spells or something like that. I don't know if there'd be a way to do it where it would cast.
Yeah,
I think you can.
It has its own, or it shares global cooldown with everything else, so you can't really do that. I have it where I can hit it, it's just that animation and that sound I haven't been picking up on because I'm focused on other things. don't know what it is. When the kids are awake, I get super distracted. Like, I used to be really into Call of Duty, but anytime one of the kids was in the area or in the room, like, my awareness is on them more than the game, I guess. So I start making mistakes.
Stop being a parent? Come on.
Yeah.
I guess that's the issue. It's like, I don't know, hyperactive daddy.
How dare you be a parent?
I used to say that I felt like my youngest son, when he would cry, he hit this frequency that triggered something in my mind that just put me on edge. And I think part of it is due to the whole soldier PTSD shit. Like, I had like a lot of PTSD back from Iraq, and kind of like bothered me for a long time.
Ooh, you gonna die.
I saved it. Luckily, these guys, they do knock me down and stun and shit, but I can heal through it for whatever reason. But yeah, the baby crying, like, children around is like a mini PTSD thing for me. It just puts me on edge, that's all.
No, you don't have to explain it, man. You're good. It's okay to be a good dad. I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you. Mugger hurt, I got another one. Another one. Oh, this one's got all kinds of shit. Oh. Increase the armor resistance given by your frost armor and ice armor spells by 10%. I think I found my new weapon. Right back to the Mugger hurt, it seems. And then it says fire word and frost word. We don't really care. Yeah, that's better than the stats one I have. I'm going to lose the minimum to maximum damage, but the armor increased from frost armor or ice armor is going to be worth it for this build. I want to get like all my shit enchanted with that, the random enchants that benefit my spec. So much money I feel like I'm going to be spending whenever I reach max level trying to make these builds synergize with the gear. Because I feel like that's probably going to be what separates the good players from like everybody else, is making your talent match your gear.
Yeah, that's why I want, like, I'm strength, and I want to go dual wield two-handers is what I've been trying to focus on.
Hell yeah. Titan's grip. I thought Titan's grip was like a level 70, but is it a level 60 talent?
Yeah, you could have the end talents by level 50 or 60.
Yeah, it is 60.
Yeah, it's 60. It requires 50 points to get to it.
Man, I have so the strength stacking, man. Like I did that with the Elude here because most of his gear is focused around strength and increasing attack power. And whenever we had free resets, I went into the strength stacking build and got my crit strike up an obscene amount, like more than I should have. And whenever I crit, like shit would melt, but I had like no survivability. And I was very tempted to just keep him strength stacking crit like that because it was so nice. Like I figured if I built a questing spec, that's what it would be just like that. I would just run around questing, two-shotting everything, but I felt like that was gonna get a lot more boring faster than AoE tanking, like AoE grinding like these mobs like I am. So I ended up coming back to it. But I think like there's some huge viability with some melee, like Titan's grip shit.
Yeah, that's what I would play. I'm not Titan's grip right now. I just need to figure out how to make it work better.
So many builds, so many ideas. I just hope there's a platform to actually like try them on. Battlegrounds, I haven't heard anything about. And there's not arena, right? So PvP wise, other than world PvP.
I think there is arena, like you can queue for it, but there's not like an arena like reward system. I think since it's WoTLK Client, I think arenas are unlocked. Because some people do an arena on like beta footage, so I don't know if that was just beta for fun, but they were doing arenas on beta footage for sure.
What is glory about too? I get glory a lot.
I have no idea, and there's no way to like. I have seen nothing on it, so I couldn't tell you what it's actually.
Okay, I figured that was gonna come into play, like as far as the rewards and stuff. Like maybe they're gonna be. I can't remember if there was glory in the game back then, or if that's like a new point system.
No, that's something with them.
So this is their own point system. So I imagine there's going to be something that you're going to be able to purchase later on.
You would think that there would be some sort of link on their website explaining what it is if it's a custom mechanic of their game, but no.
I haven't actually went around looking a whole lot. But yeah, that'd be cool. Have some kind of a glory system with the random enchanted PvP gear. Ooh. Train. I think I need to train. Stone Skin's new rank. Demoralizing Shot. Flash Heal. Revenge. That might help.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb. What is glory?
I've gotten it a few times from just killing people in the world.
You get like 5 per kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Battlegrounds, and then 20 per kill in the world. So
maybe
it's some
it has
kind of
something
PvP.
to do. There's a ranking system. If you go to your account page, there's like on the right-hand side. Maybe it has to do with your rank and getting titles. Do they have titles?
I mean, yeah, there are titles. They have a title tab in the thing. I just don't know what. I don't know. There's no explanation of it. Maybe I just need to do more research.
Well, aside from that, my point earlier was I want a platform to try these builds at that isn't just raiding a molten core. Because waiting on 40 people to do anything feels like you're not going to be doing that very often if you're waiting for 40 people.
I see a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people in like full Ubers and Blackrock Death gear because that's where the best gear is. So you're going to find a lot of those groups.
Hi, Pink Rose. How you doing?
Pink Rose, what's up? What's going on? You know, speaking of which, Pink Rose, whatever happened to Saturn? I think that was our other girl viewer. Haven't seen her in a while.
Oh yeah.
She's a nurse, so I know her schedule's
in the stream.
Oh no, she's a nurse. Never mind.
5% of my viewers is grills.
You have that mommy appeal.
I guess so. I think it's funny too because whenever we were running, or I'll be watching my videos back sometimes too, and every time Saturn would talk in chat, I'd see my wife's ears perk up and she'd look over to see what I was doing. I'm like, don't be jealous.
Hi, Jake from State Farm. What are you wearing?
Right. Khakis?
She sounds hideous. It's because she's a dude.
She's a grill, a guy in real life. We used to have this very smart orc guy. He would always say that in chat in the old Kazmadan server. He'd be like, G-I-R-L, guy in real life.
So it's talking like, dude, I am a guy that just wants to play a female character. Like, it was something about just like being a dude playing female characters online. It was hilarious.
Well, it was funny because it would trigger all the female WoW players, and then they would out themselves by saying, I'm a girl. Like, I play WoW and I'm a girl. And then they'd have to deal with the onslaught of whispers that they got from every guy on the server right after that. But I used to think it's funny. It was like he's trolling all the females. And then they'd out themselves and have to name change or switch servers. Because I guess it's really hard for girl gamers. Or it was back then in like, what, 2008. I don't think it's as much of a problem anymore as it used to be. But yeah, the guys that play girl characters, I used to know a dude named, he was any variant of Cheese. So he'd be Cheese Hunter or Cheese Shooter and Cheese Warrior, and he would always play female characters. And he'd go into Orgrimmar or trade chat, and he'd be like, he'd play a girl that was, the way he would describe it to me was that he'd play that he was a Chinese girl. And he got so many whispers and people running him through dungeon and free gold. And he said it's like the most lucrative thing that he did in WoW, aside from farming dungeons, was just telling people that he was a girl and they would give him money and run him through dungeons and stuff.
So he was a prostitute.
I was like, you whore. Yeah, exactly. Pouring himself out for WoW money.
It's like the whatchamacallit, the Big Bang Theory episode where Sheldon gets his character stolen.
There's a few of those actually. I was surprised by how much WoW references.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, yeah.
He gets the character stolen, so they go like meet this female troll under the Org bridge to get information. It's hilarious.
And then there was another one with the Sword of Azeroth.
Oh god, yeah.
They were like battling for the Sword of Azeroth or something.
I am the wielder of the Sword of Azeroth!
They were like, Sheldon, heal us, what are you doing? He's running for the sword. And he stands up and he's like, I have the Sword of Azeroth. And then the other guy was like, wait, it's on eBay. And then the Jewish dude jumps up and he's like, I have the Sword of Azeroth.
I can't do that yet.
Shit was funny.
Yeah. He gets his character hacked and stolen, and they go to confront the guy, and it's like he comes out carrying like the Klingon war weapon, and then Penny ends up just like kicking him in the balls and getting it back.
Hell yeah.
It's too good. Too good.
I still haven't figured out how to properly pull this cave. I keep getting onesies and twosies and circling around before they respawn, so it's kind of perpetually stuck me in a onesie and twosie pool.
What you need to do is go shadow mode in the corner, wait for everything to respawn.
Doing it right now.
Make yourself a cup of coffee.
I'm gonna go take a bio and I'll be right back. I'm gonna start this pull right. Have you grinded this cave? Did you figure out a good method?
Yeah, I basically just every time I just did from like every little straightaway. So I'd go from like the center part to that first bend, and then I go from that bend to the top. Just did it kind of in straightaways. Then back out to the front and like cleared that whole front thing of all the Yetis out front, and then back through. And by the time you clear the front and run back into the center, they're usually respawned.
All right, I'm gonna do that when I get back. Alrighty, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Appreciate it. I think part of the reason why my mana's been a little bit more of a touchy thing is because of this holy shield uses mana. But it's totally manageable as long as I'm paying attention.
I can't carry any more of those.
Maybe go for there's the talents that I think it's in the ret tree that gives like percentage mana gain every time you judge.
Yeah, the spiritual attunement. Or no, you're talking about Judgment of the Wise.
Yeah, I think that might be worth it just for leveling wise as a mana thing if you want to keep all that up.
That's still rechargeable.
You've been asked by Lewis how long you've been playing WoW.
Been playing WoW since like 2008, like right towards the end of vanilla, whenever that was, before BC dropped. And since then, I've played, I think, I started with the priest, but I only actually really mained tune whenever the palette came out for the Horde. So I've been a paladin most of my WoW career, and then whenever Wrath of the Lich King dropped, I started my Altahalism, and then I'd played all the classes after that.
Yeah, I didn't get serious to Wrath. It was so much fun though.
Oh yeah.
I went so ham on a Death Knight when the Wrath came out.
Yep, I did as well.
I leveled my warrior in Wrath, but in the raids I was a shaman. I went Ellie and then Resto.
I don't know how I did it, but starting out as a Death Knight with no resources, I had enough to buy like my flyings, except for the epic flying, the Death Knight mount, and I had like maximum jewel crafting like by the time I hit 70. I don't know what I did to do it, but I just was like out of my mind on my Death Knight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they gave you money when you started a character then too, so.
No, they never gave you gold. They gave you
Are you
bags.
sure?
And, like, they gave you bags and like maximum like first aid. That was all you got. Was current first aid and bags, but they didn't give you any money to start.
I could have swore we had gold.
Wrath was when you got the bind on account gear too. That's part of the reason
Yeah,
why my
later in round,
alcoholism got out of control. Because then I'd farm for justice tokens or points or whatever, and then go to the vendor and buy all the heirloom gear. And then I PvP'd quite a bit too, so I got the PvP version too with the honor.
There's grasp.
Lewis was saying he started in Kata and his dad started in vanilla. Dala.
Their Northcraft just came out if you like Wrath of the Lich King. It's an instant level 70 Wrath server.
I've heard some buzz about it, like people either asking if I was going to play or saying they were going to play, but I haven't heard much other than that.
It seems really well scripted and everything. It's just the population's like less than 1,000 people online, so it's like I don't know why you would. There's nothing you can do at in game. There's like 1 or 2 guilds. Arenas are going to be boring as heck if it's 100 people, like 1,000 people playing.
There's so many private servers out now, though. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yet none sanctioned by the people that should be making them. Weird.
I don't understand
Yeah.
that either. Like, do they not like money anymore? You'd think they'd be making their own versions of private servers, or at least do whatever they think private servers should be doing. Like, in a
That's
way
the
that's
thing.
right.
They could charge a lesser subscription,
Yeah.
like $5-10 a month, if you just want to play, and they could do it per expansion. Like, oh, you want to play Vanilla, Wrath, and TBC? $5 per expansion for your access to the servers. And they've
It's
already got
weird.
they've already got the hardware. They've already got all of it. Like, they don't even have to patch anything. Like, maybe a bug fix here and there when something weird pops up. But I don't know. I feel like you could manage that with a small team of like 20 people, maybe even smaller, since all the core work's been done. But whatever.
Blizzard's like one of the only MMOs that still has the subscription-based like model too. They're what
Yeah.
made it a legitimate way to make money with MMOs is like the whole subscription-based. Like, I guess, how would I say that? They were the most popular subscription-based MMO like for a long time.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to get MMOs like Black Desert Online and even SWTOR and WildStar and all these other ones that don't charge you a subscription anymore. So that
Yeah, but they have
subscription-based models
free
kind of in
games.
flux.
Yeah, but WoW's done it to where they have an in-game store, they have the subscription, but you can also play for free if you just farm gold. So like they have like everything. And then you've got the people that are buying those tokens to sell them with real money to get gold, so that they've gotten rid of gold farming because you can legitimately buy it through Blizzard without having to get your account banned.
Yeah. But I feel like they could still keep subscriptions around if they just offered private servers as well. Then you'd just be paying for the licensing to play on any of those servers. Get like
I'd
a
rather them
premium
host it.
subscription or something.
Yeah. I gotta start getting ready for work. I'm gonna be AFK off and on for a little bit.
Alright, man.
Yeah, I would totally play
I would prefer it.
a
'cause
legacy
they do it
server.
right.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have to worry about like there was some kind of stink on the Elysium server I heard for a little bit. Like I don't even know if it was Elysium or I was just playing that during the time, but they said some private server came out and they were charging players money or making a lot of money off of it in some way. I forget all the details, but there was some kind of shady business going on between the developers behind the scenes. And like, you know, that wouldn't happen if Blizzard did it, because they got their company name that they gotta uphold. Like, they wouldn't take risks like that.
Well, Elysium got closed pretty quickly once it released, didn't it?
It got closed?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was a branch off of the Nostralis servers. So Nostralis went down, and they gave the core code to the Elysium project people, and pretty much like Elysium was Nostralis, but the new version under a different name, so they couldn't get the cease and desist or some shit. But then like a short while after Elysium got started, Nostralis was like, well, no, we want to start back the Nostralis servers. And Elysium was like, nope. So, like, I don't know, something weird politically was going on with the games and the developers and stuff, but that's kind of the problem, is like, you gotta worry about all that shit if you plan on playing something or investing that much time into specifically the vanilla servers, like, cause I sat there and I played for 60 something episodes, and my episodes are like 3 or 4 hours long each, and I only got to level 20 on any tune, but I was playing multiple tunes. But like all that time investment, and it could go away. So you really gotta kind of be zen about it if you're gonna play on a server like that, where it's like, hey, easy come, easy go. But like, it's demoralizing. Like, it makes people not want to play whenever they think that they can potentially waste that much time on something that could just get taken away, or you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Holy Paladin, yo yo yo, my man, what's up? What's up, Holy Pally? When did you say you were going to start playing with your friends? I know you were talking about starting a group on one of the new servers, I think it was. Holy Pally. And have you got that channel up yet? Because when you do, I wanna check it out. I try to follow other streamers' channels and stuff. A lot of the times whenever I'm not reviewing my own videos, trying to rethink life and what I can be doing for the stream, I'll watch other guys too. But it's hard to watch a lot of different streamers. Like, I was watching Tribal Eyes yesterday, and he's also a Project Ascension dude. And it was, I think, right around lunchtime for me, but it was I think they said 9 something p.m. in the EUs. And just as soon as he started to stream, like maybe 20 minutes after he started, the servers went down. So he's looking at the login screen, and he's like, wow, I've never had 20 viewers and the login servers are down. So I was like, damn, this poor guy. But he had like all the big names, like I think Tommy Ruin was watching his stream, and I think I even saw Lyfe watching. I was like, damn.
Yeah, Lyfe's got a pretty decent channel.
I dig how he like actually researches his shit. Like, that's what turned me on to Lyfe, was him doing the spreadsheets and stuff. It's like, wow, he's actually like paying attention to what the developers are changing. So I've kept my eye on him because he's doing a lot of the legwork that most other people either wouldn't do, or like, I don't know. I think of him as my elitist jerks resource. Back in Wrath of Lich King, I used to always crawl the forums on elitist jerks to find out what the new class changes were and shit, and how it affected stats. And they don't really have that for this server. but he's got an all-inclusive like collective data Google Doc where it shows each and every ability and whether or not it's working or broken, and he tests it. So that's very interesting what he's doing. It's kind of demoralizing whenever he makes a build video and everybody makes that build after that though. I think it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. It's a good thing because like people are curious about like builds and like their viability, and also it's pointing out to the developers like, hey, these certain stats and attribute makeups are broken, and it gives the devs an idea of what they need to fix. Yep. But it's bad because then all that gear is sold out on the auction house and you can't try out your shit that uses that type of gear. Holy Paladin says October 1st. Alright, I'm going to try to remember that. Hellground server called Wargreat. Then Nader was saying HP Rocket One Sock is playing there. He needs friends though. He plays on the evening when no one's on. Yeah, it's hard during the NA prime times. That's weird because since I run in the morning so much, I find myself on with more of the EU crowd. I haven't really got into any deep like raiding or anything though, like nothing that requires groups. I've been in this dungeon queue, for example, for 2.5 hours and still haven't got a healer for ZF. Holy Paladin said his channel is going to be called Shadow Gaming, and he's going to play a Shadow Priest almost exclusively. Nice. Shadow Priests are one of those things, man. It's like, if you can get good at Shadow Priests, nobody can touch you. But they got like, I think they got one of the, they're one of the more harder classes to play well.
That's an understatement, even in today's WoW.
Yeah, and it's scary whenever you see one that's being played well too. Like, you want to run from that guy.
Right.
I just don't know what it is. Like, I'm always, I gravitate more towards the melee types. I enjoy casters, but I gotta be in a certain mood for a caster.
Yeah, I'm just the opposite. I love casting.
There's so many benefits, like it's really nice. But I don't know, like I gotta be in their face, and I don't know what it is. Melee abilities are more instantaneous too. Not watching the cast bar the whole time, or playing as a healer. What do they say? You play groundhog? What's the name where you're hitting the heads of the gophers that pop their heads out of the hole?
Whack-a-mole, yeah.
Yeah, whack-a-mole with the health bars. That's what it feels like with the healer.
I always thought of it as a meter maid.
Meter maid, exactly, yeah. That's why I was digging so hard on the Legion Pally, Holy Pally, DPS to heal, or the Windwalker Monk. They had some version of that too. Fist weaving, they called it. Necklace of Khaleesi, or Khaleesi. Increased chance to apply deadly poison, intellect, neck.
Some of this alliance stuff I've never even experienced because I played Horde back in the day.
I'm the exact same, man. I was ally in vanilla, but I only made it to level 50 something. I only ever actually maxed the tune in BC, and that was all Horde side from then on. Once I went Horde, I realized like there was so much more mature players back then on the Horde side.
Oh yeah.
And all the theory crafters all tended to gravitate towards Horde. I've been playing with the idea of rolling a Horde character on this server, but I don't want to level again. I was like, maybe I'll do a faction change at some point, but if the guild starts going anywhere, I probably won't. I want to see the guild become more. I think it'd be really cool to have like maybe an NA based guild.
Oh yeah, man.
But then I'd have to ship my game time. I don't know, we'll see when school starts, when the kids are going back to school, what my schedule looks like. But my summer schedule is pretty much what it's been. Holy Paladin says, it is a hard class. I'll try to play Holy, try to play Dungeons when I reach 60, and then respect the Shadow and start rolling the Outland and grind farming. And all that grind farming that we all love. He said, I'll be so happy as when you and some of your friends come to that server, we can make a great guild. Hell yeah, October, I should be probably well burnt out of this game, or deep into something, like, I don't know. I plan on sticking around as long as it's fun. Hopefully it stays fun, but there's a, I don't know, it feels like Swiss cheese, the population here. There's a lot of holes in the time people play, and like, shit's hitting the fan, hold on. Yeah, I don't know where the population is on this server, and they're not very forthcoming with how many people are playing and what their peak hours are or anything like that, so like, I really don't know. But I don't...
EU, I can imagine it's between 12 and, I don't know, 5-ish.
12 p.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yeah, that'd be our time, 12 to 5.
Right. See, that wouldn't be so bad. That could be manageable. But then also I was thinking if we went NA with the guild, then more of the NA population would be raiding specifically on the weekends. And then we could do normal NA times. Like, that would fit my schedule. Because Friday to Sunday, I play during NA times, but I don't stream.
Mm-hmm.
But my weekdays are normally streaming in the AM times. But it's funky because just my experience with the dungeon finder in the server, just to find groups to run stuff, like I don't actively like spam and try to get the group together. I normally queue and then quest, or grind in this case, and then if a dungeon group pops, it's a nice like change of pace. So I usually like to do it that way. But level 20 range for like dead mines, it was always easy to find a group, and that was really nice. But since then I've either haven't really tried queuing that much, or whenever I did, I would be in queue like indefinitely, it seems.
Right.
So I don't know what to think about the population. And I think that might be partially because nobody levels as a healer. Or nobody levels as a DPS because it's more efficient to AoE grind.
Yeah, as people start leveling and like, getting top tier, you'll start seeing it change a little bit.
I feel like dual spec would solve that though, if they just let us dual spec at 40.
Yeah, that would.
Maybe even lower than that, maybe at 30. Then we would have healers and tanks when we need. You just have to make sure your healer heals you a few times before you start the run to make sure he actually has healing spells.
Yeah.
or put some training dummies outside the dungeon, and before you can initiate the start of the dungeon, you have to taunt one dummy and heal another. And then that way you can get in. I don't know, I figured there'd be some kind of a check that they would have to put to make sure people aren't. But then also, like, I feel like you should be able to queue 5 DPS for a dungeon. Because we're all heroes. Then it's just a matter of, like, every man for himself throughout the dungeon for surviving. But I don't know. There's so many different things that would change the game too much. I think it'd be implemented all willy-nilly like I'm suggesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. We probably wouldn't like how it was once it was finally said and done anyway, so.
Yeah. Holy Paladin said, I'll be happy if you and your friends come to the server, we can make a great kill. Do you love Alliance or Horde? I'm really into Night Elf Priest, so we can do Alliance, but I can do Blood Elf too. I'm more of a Horde guy. I think I've had my fill of Alliance and I haven't even maxed the tune yet. Belfs. There's going to be the Belfs too. That'd be cool. I don't know, there's something about a drawn-eyed female though. But yeah, I'll probably be Horde. And then Lewis said, I remember when you had to go to the class trainer to change spec. The MIMS. Yeah.
Okay, back for a bit.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Saying about me, Nader? Talking smack?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Thought.
They were like, all he does is rock. One sock.
Even at work. Dress socks? Only one of them.
Oh yeah. He got his religious socks on. They got holes in them. The holy sock.
I do have some St. Patty socks that have horseshoes and mustaches on them.
Nice.
Pretty legit.
Can't carry anymore.
Why the horseshoes though?
Well, that's the Irish part. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Better question, my mustaches.
Why mustaches?
Don't they have a thing with mustaches over there?
I don't know. New Hellground server called Wargate. What is that, a TBC server?
Yeah, it sounds like a TBC server. It's gonna...
Yeah, but I played with Hellground and they were super sketch. I'm not playing on Hellground anymore.
Oh, what did they do?
They wiped their server after like 8 years, which was announced, so they were starting fresh. And then I got to like level 61 because it was like a ×2 server.
Yeah.
And then they had a GM go AWOL and was like banning characters. He was giving people gold. He was taking like 2 or 3 people into raids and instant raid killing, like one-shotting bosses for them. And then they shut down the server just out of nowhere, and then it came back up under like new administration and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
See, that's what I was talking about. Like, Blizzard made their shit, that wouldn't happen.
They had to do like an 8-hour rollback to like try to fix the stuff that he did, and he posted like a YouTube video of him like doing it. Like, it was like nuts. So I think I'm gonna stay away from the Hellground staff.
Man. But it was consistent for 8 years?
Before that, yeah, they had like a server up for 8 years.
Damn.
Like, I don't know how it was up for a while. Like they had T6 like done for a while, and the server was dying, so they decided to do a reboot.
Holy Paladin said, yeah, Hellground have bad reputation, but I never played on that server. I have nothing to lose. And then he said, I heard the same stories like your friend said.
I would say you have nothing to lose unless your guy gets banned or the server just shuts down randomly. But the private server, when you have like no like obligations to your customers, because it's not like a real thing, you got to be kind of weary of projects that have bad histories, just because you are investing your time. I mean, you do lose your time that you put into it, so it's one of those things you got to be careful. But I'm actually gonna go finish up some stuff, so I'm gonna take off for today. So I'll see you guys later.
All right, man.
See you, man.
I can't do that.
Holy Paladin said, but if I had to choose between Warmane and Hellground, all the way Hellground, if no other server pops up. I'm done with Hellfire, and I told you a short story about what happened to me there. Yeah, man, that was pretty rough. You said the GMs, they deleted your account or something like that, or locked it out? They dealt with you very sketchily.
I need to get closer.
Kind of digging this mob fanning thing. It's neat seeing them reposition themselves. I wish I had a bigger area so I could pull more and see it kind of more in action. I only get one really big pull here in this cave. You see them do it a lot more.
I'm still in Westfall.
Holy Paladin was saying the devs randomly kicking him from a dungeon on the last boss when the population was from 60 to 100 players online. It's like, yeah, that's pretty fucked off.
Yeah, that's pretty crappy. Huh?
Imagine that university kicked you from the last year. That's the feeling. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Bags are beginning to fill up. May need to go to that town and sell. I feel like I should be binding my hearth there.
That's what I just did as well. I sell a whole bunch of stuff.
What is your build? What are you focusing on?
Run the AoE caster.
The void striking?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. I did that on Spitfire for a little bit. Some semblance of that at least. I didn't actually get flame strike, but
That's what made me want to do it.
it's crazy how much you can sacrifice your pet for. Like I thought it killed your Voidwalker whenever you did that, so for the longest I didn't even use it. But then like shit hit the fan once and I hit sacrifice and he was still up and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, Lewis feels bad, man. Were they messing with you because you were streaming, Holy? I forgot why you said they started messing with you. It's crazy that Wyvernfall Gaming guy had some similar issue on a Minecraft server too, where the server admin were like treating him unfairly. Shit, I used to play on a Rust server, and the group that I ran with donated to support the server, and there were a lot of instances where we would get these really nice spots to put our I don't know if you've ever played Rust. You can build your own kind of like base. You build the walls, and you could have stairs and upper levels and lower levels and doors. And we would always end up in like the most resource rich spot in the game. And people that we had problems with on the server that would encroach on our territory, like we'd defend the territory from people taking our resources and stuff like that. And it seemed like the people that we had problems with would all of a sudden get like banned from the server. The developers would follow them invisible and report to us on them, like what they were doing and what they were up to. So, like, yeah, people in the core group of the guild or faction that I was a part of would have all this like insider information on other players' movement on the server. And it was like, it was fun at the time, but like, where's the challenge whenever, you know what I mean? Like, they had to actually struggle, like the other players on the server had to actually struggle to get a foothold while we were running around no pants banditting with people. Like, we ran around without pants. All we had was Kevlar top and like armor on the like our helm and our chest, and we'd have M4s and shotguns, and we would run around and force people to take off their pants and join us, or we would shoot them on the spot if they refused to. And we would take all their gear and shit. So it was like every weekend we had no pants banditting.
That's
It was
the
fun
problem
for
with
us.
Those kind of games, man. They just.
Private server specifically, because then like you get the controlling interest. Like you get the people that donate to the server the most, and you want to make them happy, so they keep donating to the server, and then you end up with issues. And then I think it was even on the Elysium project, not Andorhal, but Anathema, the Anathema server had like somebody donating a couple thousand to support the server, and it was really awesome. Yeah, they got like a shout out on the forums or something about it, but somehow they canceled the transaction, so the server went down. And people couldn't log into the Anathema server for a while. It was down for like a day or a week or something. And it's like just another reason why private servers can be sketchy. But I had characters on that server. That's the only reason why I knew about it, because I couldn't log into them for a while, and I ended up starting on the server I ended up on because of that.
Yeah. I think I was following you at the tail end of that little.
Hell yeah. I was really digging Vanilla WoW. Just the progression, how slow it was, and the player base was really awesome. Like, I don't know what it is about the style of game that attracts the players like that, but that specifically I remember being a really good player. All the Elysium Project people were really friendly.
And it's a different game than what retail is today. So.
Yeah, less instant gratification. We used to always talk about how, like,
Yeah.
I guess it's just that type of person that appreciates that kind of game. I wonder if you see any of that in the comparison with Sargeras and the Andorhal people.
Oh, I'm sure it's there to some extent.
I was watching that Sargeras video back the other day, and I was like, man, like, I feel like I should have waited for you guys. We should have just ran 4 deep, but I got so caught up into racing Gershon. I was like, damn, like, we were in the party and everything. I should have doubled back and just ran with them. We'd probably still be on that server. That's what I was thinking anyways.
I'm alright.
It's hard to
I'm a
run
slow
with people.
WoW person.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Is like when I'm running with my cousin, at times I feel like I'm holding him back, and then I think at times he feels like he's holding me back. And Elude, this character specifically, I was running exclusively with Barrage, my cousin Blue Strider, and he ended up having to hop off for a while, and he was telling me to go on without him. And like since then, we haven't synced back up. And then whenever you get so far apart in levels, you can't run together anymore. So then you ended up, like, you always end up in your silos or your own little, like, level brackets. And then it's either re-roll another character and catch up with them and run with them again, and then always perpetually be stuck in the level 20 ranges, or just move on. And then hopefully we all reach 60, and it ends up being an issue because you get burnt out trying to catch up. Like I'm sitting here trying to catch up to, I still feel like I'm trying to catch up to Anger Sponge or Rockin' Wansad. And I start getting burnt out whenever I play too long for too hard. Or for too long too hard.
Oh yeah, I feel you, man.
But at the same time, I don't want to be perpetually level 20 trying to catch people up who are just going to fall off.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with WoW, though. Like, I've played it so long now that it's just I'm ready for something else.
Yeah. I mean, the grass isn't greener. I've played all the newer games and stuff like that. And it's always the same situation, it seems. Lewis said, quick question, what's your opinion of Legion? My opinion of Legion for me is, it's no longer just Altahaulism, but it's Altahal specism, because it's not just like playing the hunter and then playing the priest and then playing the rogue and then playing the paladin and then playing the warrior and so on and so on. It's playing the hunter and beastmaster, playing the hunter and marksman, playing the priest and holy, playing the priest and discipline. Like, it's even more so like spread so far across the map. I had this baseline I usually try to get my characters to, like in Wrath of the Lich King it was item level 200 was my baseline. Like if I could get everybody to item level 200, then they were baselined and they were equipped to do any of the heroics or start any raids. And that's what I was doing in Legion, was I was getting everybody's artifact weapon to the 3rd gold dragon trait. And once I got the character to the 3rd gold dragon trait, and I'm arbitrarily saying that, I don't know if the 3rd gold dragon trait's actually what I was getting them to, but it was something like that. Like I would try to get them up to this gear level or this level in their artifact points, and I would do that for my paladin, and then I'd do it for my warrior, and so on and so on and so on. Actually, what turned me off to it was the legendaries. I wanted each character to have their own legendary, and whenever my warrior and my paladin specifically got 2 legendaries, I was like, I was done with it. It was for me, it was like welfare legendaries at that point. Like, you're not earning it. It's just it shouldn't drop that often if it's actually legendary. Like, don't call it legendary. Like, make that item epic and scale everything else down, and make legendary like truly legendary, like something that is whispered about in Baron's chat that nobody speaks about or nobody's ever seen in person. Like, make it something prestigious. But I mean, it's kind of like what turned me on to the Project Ascension stuff actually is the idea that you're a hero, and that you can spec your character in any way, and you're like free to do it, and like you're stronger and more powerful and stuff like that. Like, we're the rare mob in this version of WoW, and it kind of felt like that was going to be the case in Legion. Like, you're going to be some epic hero finally, instead of somebody on your quest or your journey to become a hero. But I think I saw, it was either a meme or something where it said like the next expansion of WoW, and it showed your player standing inside of a dungeon or a raid, and all these NPCs standing out in front of you, and your job was just to stand there and fight off waves of NPCs endlessly. Where you're just the raid boss. You become the thing that you fought your entire WoW career. You're the Onyxia. But yeah, like I'm very much into that, like the kind of the unleashed version. It feels like you're the unleashed version of all the characters in WoW now.
And for me, it just feels more sandboxy.
In Legion?
No, here on Project Ascension, like.
Oh, okay.
And like, I always thought to myself, if WoW ever did something a little more sandboxy, I would definitely dig it. And I mean, this is so much fun. Like,
I'm worried too, because I mean, I love Legion. I love playing it. I love leveling all the different characters up and trying all the different classes and specs out. Like, if I'm playing it, if I'm actually like doing it like I am Elude right now, like I'm enthralled, like I'm immersed and I'm enjoying myself, and I feel like a badass. I feel like a hero, and that's good. Like that's the way a game should make you feel. But if I were to stop for a few days, it's this weird thing with WoW specifically, where if you take a break, you're like, nah, I don't want to get back into that, because then that means I gotta get my character to 60, and then I gotta get dungeon ready, and then I gotta get raid ready, and then I gotta do this, and you build this mountain in front of yourself. Like I didn't go back to Legion because of that, because I was like, well, I still gotta get my legendary on my priest, and I gotta get my legendary on my hunter, and it's like, how much work is that? Like, how many dungeons do you have to do? And it's really easily, you can easily be intimidated by that amount of like work that you gotta put in. But whenever you're just playing it, yeah, it's fun as fuck. And like, my biggest thing is grouping. Like, I will not enjoy a game if I can't have a group and run with a party. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I was almost perpetually level 20 on the Elysium Project servers, is because like I didn't mind starting a new character and rolling with people, but I found that as much as I did that, I wasn't getting anywhere, and the people that I was doing that with or for would get burnt out of the game themselves, and then like they would fall off, and then I'd be stuck like with a level 20-ish character that I'd end up having to run by myself. So at this point I've resolved that, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna focus on my builds, and I'm gonna hit level 60, and that plateau at level 60 is where everybody else will eventually get, and then we can run stuff together. Or maybe I'll find a group of people at level 60 that I'll group up with, that log in at the same time as me, that are running the same things as I'm running, and maybe it'll just naturally happen. But if not, or in the meantime, until that happens, I'll be focusing on building out different fantasy builds and seeing what I can come up with and its group viability and all that. But to me, like currently, I don't really have a solid carrot on the stick for this game. Like, I don't know what my in-game progression is gonna look like. Like MC, okay, maybe, but waiting for 40 people, I don't think so. Like, I don't think that that's gonna happen very often. And then battlegrounds and stuff like that, whether or not they're gonna bring back arenas or some version of it, and what the reward for that's gonna be, like, I don't know. I think just for now, play it while it's fun, and that's all I try to focus on. Lyfe said fantasy build. I was missing stuff y'all were saying in chat. Holy Paladin says, my opinion is very nice animation and effects, but not World of Warcraft for me anymore. And then, right, you're right about that with Legion. And then Lewis said, yeah, it's a grind. They had to change the game to just Legion. Or the game name. Yeah, pretty much. Like, Legion is in all my alts are the Legion of alts.
Yeah.
Let me not die for a second here, guys.
Holy Paladin said Legion standalone. And he said Blizzard Project, Fantasy Builds, and Lyfe, Arenas, and they have PvP in game, sorry, but not currently available. I am so dyslexic. I'm sorry.
Is that what Glory's for, Lyfe? Because we were talking about that today. It's like every time we get PvP kills, we're getting glory, but it doesn't actually say what glory's used for. Maybe we're pulling glory for when that gear comes out. Yeah, 20k glory for one piece of PvP gear. Ah. Got it. Yeah, totally, man. I'm gonna build some fantasy builds. I wish I knew whenever that last free respec weekend thing was gonna happen. Is there somewhere that they announced that before it happened? Because I only found out after the fact. I try to read the change log every day, and speaking of which, I haven't read it today, but like so far that's the only news that I have from the server other than the server's Discord, which I put on mute because they're always chirping about something.
Yeah, man. Well, I had to leave it. It was just
Alright, Holy Paladin, take it easy, man. I didn't leave it, I just muted the server. I still check it for announcements here and there when I remember, but I like watching the changelog on their website because like you can see the work they're putting into it. Well, look at that now. Just today, they changed some talents and abilities. Let's see. They say, I'm trying to get this to where it's on the page. Ritual summoning can now be used in dungeons raids on Andorhal, so warlocks can summon people. System changes, instances will now properly cap at 5 per hour. So I guess people were farming dungeons at more than 5 per hour. Damn, so in an hour they were running a dungeon more than 5 times.
it's crazy.
That's broke. I'm glad they fixed that. But at the same time, like, damn, just missed out on that gold making opportunity. You can no longer loot objects while in Spirit of Redemption. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, the priest, whenever the priest dies, they become that ghost. I guess people could loot while they were in that form.
Oh wow, that's kind of OP too.
Fix an issue where looking for dungeon would teleport you randomly or to random entry locations. I didn't know you could teleport to a dungeon. Implemented mob farming system. Mobs will now spread out as intended. Oh, mob fanning. Right, that's what we noticed today, that mob fanning thing. Item changes. Multiple high-level greens have been removed from the loot templates that should not have been there. And the subtlety toe, they misspelled subtlety. Hemorrhage 3 was removed from the loot tables as it can now be trained from the trainer. Okay. And then that last yesterday, they made it to where you can get 5 glory per kill in Battlegrounds and 20 glory per kill in the world. So less reward for Battlegrounds, more for world PvP. Which I think that's an appropriate scale because you're going to get more kills back to back in dungeons or Battlegrounds. And in the world it's harder to find players. Lewis said later holy, and then Lyfe said they had to because there was an error with the talent and ability, so to fix the issue and please the community they offered free reset. It was a spur of the moment decision. Ah, okay. Yeah, I saw them saying something like that with the, I forgot what it was, like druid abilities weren't resetting or something. And they say, yeah, it made it crazy for solo dungeon builds. So being able to farm dungeons like that made solo dungeon builds appear everywhere. And then Hemo buff. As if we needed Hemorrhage to be harder, to hit harder. But yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway I get from the changelog stuff is they're still working on the game. They're actively working on the game, so it's improving. I'd rather all this shit get sorted out sooner than later. And it's good that they remedied that farming the dungeons thing, because we're not going to see huge inflation in prices on the auction house. I think I'm about to go sell. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and call it too, because the kids are up.
Yeah, I was thinking about that myself.
Alrighty, Nader. Appreciate you hanging out today.
No problem.
And you guys in chat, it's always good to see chat active. I'm going to go ahead and call this episode here mid-combat and get started on breakfast for the kiddies. And that's going to conclude episode 24. Later, Nader.
See you. Have a good one.
You too, man.